Hello, and thank you for tuning in into another fun and informative episode of The G Show. I'm the hostess with the mostest, Gabriella. I think at some point in somebody's life, I would think a lot of people actually, they're always wondering what their purpose is, what they're meant to do in so many different aspects of their lives. My guest right here, the lovely Miss Shamika Shaw, is one of those amazing people from Awesome Wellness and Counseling, which is also actually, she's a life coach.
Yes. Hi.
Welcome so much, Shamika. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. I'm grateful to be here and for you having me.
Thank you. Thank you for coming out. Now, there's a lot of misconceptions maybe about life coaches. Like, what would be your definition? Because your business is called Awesome Wellness and Counseling.
Yes. So I would say my definition of a life coach is someone that can really take you from where you are and really help you push you towards the future. Something a little different than actual mental health counseling, where that's someone that's going to deal with more of your past issues. And help bring you to the current state. But a life coach to me is someone that can really pull out those things that are in you now and help accelerate you forward.
Now, how exactly is the process? How does it work? Because I've always been interested in speaking to a life coach just to see, like, sometimes what direction, some things in my life should go.
Well, for me, it's really the process of getting to know someone, getting someone to really understand those unique qualities within them and diving a little deeper. I think a lot of times we look at the surface level of who we are, but that's looking at the whole person. I am one that believes in holistic care. And so for me, it's looking at everything. It's looking at the mind, the body, and the soul in the process to how I particularly work with individuals.
Now, how is it you decide? Because I'm sure you get a lot of recommendations and many people get in touch with you. Now, are you able to work with anybody, or do you just have to select, like, who, like, how does the whole thing, because explain it to me, because I have no clue.
Well, I will say I do things a little differently as a neurodivergent person to begin with. My brain just works a little differently and I operate a little differently. I don't believe in a one box fits all type of a model.
Of course.
I don't have any particulars when it comes to working with someone. I do want it to be a good fit. I want the person that I'm working with to feel comfortable with me, and feels that I can facilitate them. And so that can be, a person from really any background when it comes down to it.
Somebody that's just reaching out to you that just needs some help and some direction.
Yes.
Now, tell everyone a little bit about your background, and then you've written an amazing book. So tell me about your background.
Yes. So I have been actually a nurse for 11 years, a registered nurse, primarily labor and delivery. And then I am a student as well. I actually have my MBA, and I am currently in school working on my master's in clinical mental health counseling.
My goodness, you've got such a full plate. I do not know how you do it.
Yes.
You can teach me how to, like, have everything on your plate and still be successful.
Yes. So a lot of things, I will say my life has really been an adventure the last couple of years. I'm someone who believes in God, and as I've kind of leaned more into really finding out my purpose in the earth, it's kind of led me into these different things, including functional nutrition counseling, and like I said, just looking at the person as a whole. And so that's led me to the point of where I am now in business, is because I really like to help people, but and I love nursing, but there definitely was a shift internally into knowing that there was something else that I was supposed to be doing.
I would think that happens with a lot of people. You just have a calling. I think some people listen to their internal dialogue and some people just don't, and then they miss it.
Yes.
Tell me about your path and your journey with writing this book.
So this book was something that I completed last year. I started it a couple of years ago. Writing is something that I kind of laugh because being in school, I hated writing.
Really? I've
Papers and
liked
anything
it.
that was mandated. But I used to write poetry a lot when I was younger. And this book really was birthed out of a direction, honestly, from God. I know I talk about God a lot, but to be honest, that's really where it was birthed from. And it takes my background as a labor nurse and and through my faith and learning the similarities between the birthing experience and the natural, and a spiritual birth. And even when I say a spiritual birth, not that you have to be or even consider yourself a Christian, but a lot of times when you are, you have this calling inside or this destiny inside of it, just the kind of steps and processes that you go through, even to manifesting it in the earth.
Wow, that's really something else. Obviously, you're a born caregiver and you're born to help people. How long was the process for you to write your book? Because I've always been interested about that. It seems like so many women I meet are authors. Like how did the idea come about? How long did it take you? And then where can everyone find a copy?
When I actually got down to it and started to write it, I probably say it took me about 2 months or so. I had the outline already. And actually the outline that I used was originally came from when I first started off as a life coach and different modules that I had to take someone through the life coaching, but that ended up turning into the book itself and expanded.
Oh, wow. So it
process.
Came about organically. Isn't that something? You said it took you 2 months?
Yes.
That is incredible. That's not a very long amount of time with
No.
as busy as you are.
Yeah, it was definitely something I had to push through and really focus on doing it, but I knew that it was something that had to be done, and because it wasn't just about me writing the book, but the message that it portrayed.
When I've read a couple of not a couple of chapters, I've read a couple of pages to get an idea, and it's beautifully well written. It's
you.
like you're actually just like speaking to me. It's really incredible.
Thank you.
And with your counseling sessions, how long do the sessions last? Is there like a program? Is it how many times do people come in? Like how long does that go on for?
So I have packages as well as individual sessions. So usually for me, when I have someone, I actually have like something that someone could do monthly, but an initial intake session would be about 90 minutes long. And then after that, my sessions with individuals are about an hour. And just that initial, because I like to get a thorough background. Actually, one of the intake forms that I utilize with clients is about 20 pages long, but it really...
Oh my goodness sake. But that's really in depth with like every nook and cranny of somebody's life and experiences, though, I'm sure.
Yes, and it's not something that necessarily has to be filled out like all at once, because I want individuals, when it comes to life coaching, or, when people are going on this journey of, figuring out their purpose, it's not an overnight thing. And I think sometimes as a society, I always say that we lived in such a rushed culture.
Yeah, it's always about right now, instant gratification. Nobody wants to put in the work.
No, and so this is a process that, it takes time, and even in that, getting individuals to understand that that's okay, because as long as we have breath in our body, then, we have the opportunity to make those changes and transformations to live a better life.
Because I would think that that's something that could go on for like an indefinite amount of time. Like I'd been in therapy, I had a therapist for a short amount of time, and like I could use that like every week I could still go. It's like there's something going on. So like when someone gets to the point where you feel like they're ready to go fly on their own,
Yes.
What's the process? Like how do you know at that point that they understand what direction they're supposed to go in and where they're headed?
At that point, it's, what the individual is comfortable with. Of course, I think, as we talked about things happening organically, I think that is very important. And so if the person is, feels like as if they're ready, we've kind of, dotted the I's, crossed the T's, we've looked at everything. If there's anything that I suspect, no, they may not be ready, I would put that out there and let them know. But, I'm not here to force anyone, to extend past that point. But always leaving the door open, it's kind of one of those things, because I've actually gone through therapy myself, and I, as a, have a mentor as well. And so it's something that, you may get to a point where you're comfortable, and then, you may not need it for a while, and you can always kind of come back to it. It's never like a completely, this is done, the door's closed.
Yeah, it's
door.
like a tune-up.
Yeah.
Like every once in a while, I think everyone needs like a little bit of a mental tune-up maybe.
Yes.
Or a life tune-up.
Yes.
And are you thinking about maybe doing a workbook in association with that book? I think that would be amazing. That idea just came to me.
Actually, I have a devotional book that I'm working on. It's a 40-day devotional to
Oh,
go along
wow.
with it. That would be a journal. I am a huge advocate for journaling.
I think it's a wonderful thing, definitely.
And something that we don't utilize as much. And so that is in the process to go along with the book.
Oh, wow. And how many clients do you have possibly for the room to take on right now at this time? Because
Right.
hopefully you'll be inundated with all kinds of people contacting you.
Right now, I would say I'm pretty open. I haven't had a lot. Like I said, I mentioned I am a nurse. And so business-wise, this is something that has been a little more open, but the position that I have in nursing will be ending soon, and so it'll open up my availability.
Wow, so everything's really going to change at that point for
So,
you.
yes. So, but right now, I would say there's definitely room to be able to take
You
on
heard that,
clients.
ladies and gentlemen. She's got room for some more amazing clients, or what would you call your
Um, I would say clients.
patients?
I really,
They're not patients.
I wouldn't say patients per se.
No.
I'd say clients. I honestly look at everyone as a friend. I am one that is very connected or try to be connected. You know, one part of my understanding of my mandate is to restore wholeness to humanity.
That is wonderful.
And so I definitely love people, and want everyone to feel just like they're really family.
I think that's wonderful. And you automatically did that with the first conversation we had. We spoke for so long. It was really wonderful. And if you can tell everyone where they can find a copy of your wonderful book.
So the book actually is on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle, or you can purchase the printed version as well. So
So amazing. I'm so proud of you.
thank you.
Well, my goodness, that went by so quickly as usual. I feel like this could go on for another hour easily. My goodness. Shamika Shaw, thank you so much for tuning in or for joining me today and for everyone for tuning in. Awesome Wellness and Counseling. Thank you so much, Shamika Shaw.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much for tuning in for a fun and informative episode. Stay tuned. Until next time.